All right, guys, the number one question that we receive, whether it be clients, customers, colleagues, friends, what have you, is how's the market? And we certainly know it's been a wild one over the past handful of quarters. So let's take this opportunity just to chat a little bit about what we're seeing from the recent past, what this past spring market has brought us, and a little bit about what we expect in this coming fall market. Ben, talk to me a little bit about Georgetown real estate, that we saw sort of in Q4 of last year versus what happened in this spring.
Q4 of last year was such an interesting time to see this normally busy market almost grind to a bit of a halt, where I think we've heard the term ice age used before, where you have sellers locked into low interest rates. They're not movable. You have buyers who think, well, my interest rate used to be 3.5, now it's 7.5. I can't afford anything. And everyone's just kind of sitting on the sidelines. No one listing their house for sale and no buyers really looking to move forward. What we saw in the early part of spring
softened a little bit, right? People got back into the market. Buyers can't sit on the sidelines forever. People are gainfully employed here, and
people need to make decisions. They need to make their plans, and they need to move forward. So while some people did sit on the sidelines, even in the spring, and the inventory is still low, we do know that people need to move.
What did you see as far as the people that actually did list their properties for sale? That could have been even in January, February, into March of this year. I mean, what were you seeing out there?
It was a receptive market. I mean, sellers with less competition were kind of sitting in the catbird seat. Buyers were competing again, not as fervent as it is maybe early part of 2022, but people were still competing for good properties, listed well, presented well, and in good locations. You're still seeing competition.
Gary, you spent a lot of time in Glover Park, certainly here in Georgetown, but your home is in Glover Park. You watch that market on a daily basis, really know the streets, every corner to it. What did you see through that period of time?
I think the same. The inventory certainly grinded to a halt, but prices went up for properties, especially pre-market, which I know Georgetown saw as well. Those private listings were selling quickly because of the lack of inventory. But essentially, I think there's a demand. And there's a demand in Georgetown, and there's a demand in Glover Park. Without a lack of inventory and without the larger buyer pool as a whole, I think it's a bit of an unknown as to where we're headed, but I would expect to see more of the same.
Wasn't there a period of time in Glover Park in particular where it was like, say, into January and February, and a lot of conventional wisdom would say, list your property in the spring, list your property in the fall. But when we were looking at January, February, was there a period of time where essentially we were seeing one house per week listed?
That's right.
There would be, say, 10 offers, 9 people didn't get the home, a property list the very following week, and the lion's share of those people from the last one moving right over to the next one.
Exactly.
So that thing that repeated itself several times in Glover Park.
I think we played both sides of this game. We had a listing and we had the buyers. But that's absolutely right. I think we saw a high of maybe 2 a week, but it was usually 1 a week, and somebody would certainly list their house, or it was pre-market. There would be a flurry of activity, it would sell, and then the neighbors would see that big number and they would list. But there was no large drop of 4 or 5 properties a week, which we're accustomed to seeing.
And this was in January and February, right?
Right.
These were typically slower periods of time, and we're seeing droves of people come, even with these interest rates, they were all over these properties.
That's exactly right.
Incredible. Jessica, so you and your husband are actually in the hunt right now. So
Yep.
You could speak to this on a personal basis. Sometimes we're so ensconced in the business that we don't really get a good feel for what it's like to sort of be on the streets and be in the shoes of our clients. What are you and your husband seeing when you're out there looking for properties right now?
I mean, it was definitely a little bit of a sticker shock going into it, but we're talking with our lender and we're figuring out which programs and which options will work for us right now. We're just accepting it for what it is and we're moving forward. I mean, I wish there was a little more options out there for us, but we're not letting it stop us. We're going out there and seeing what's available.
So if you make a move on a property, you're of the mindset also that you might be willing to accept a little bit of a higher interest rate than certainly it was a year and a half ago, but you're not against also buying a property, getting into this property, start building some equity, and at the same time, keep a close eye on rates. We anticipate them dropping at some point, and at that point, you may have married the house, date the rate, but you can refinance at that point, right?
Yeah.
And that's we're hearing that out there a good amount, right? Some people say, listen, I want to be a homeowner. I don't want to play the rental game any longer. I want to start, I want to take a tax deduction. I want to get into my property. I want to make it my own, start building that equity up. And then they'll keep an eye on the rates, make adjustments in the future.
We heard a lot of talk about, marry the house, date the rate.
Yeah.
In talk.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing it play out.
Yeah.
People are making those decisions. They're now comfortable where they are. They know that they can refinance down the line. And again, people are making those decisions they need to make.
So our team, we're pleased because we have upwards of 8, 9, maybe close to 10 properties that are in the back pocket right now that we are super excited to be bringing to the market here over the coming weeks and certainly into this much anticipated fall market. What do you guys think? Is it more of the same? Are we going to see some dramatic change? I mean, this market has thrown so many curveballs to us. What do you think for this coming up fall, Ben?
We're definitely going to see an uptick in inventory. Not a dramatic shift, but again, as this becomes more the norm, people will list their properties. And if you take our team as an example, with I think 10 properties about to hit either this week, next week, or in the fall, we're going to see that inventory and things are going to loosen up.
So then I think the real question is, how many properties are listed in the area we care about, this area here, and how fast are they absorbed, and what's that impact on pricing, right? Because so far it's been so slow inventory that pricing is at or above all-time levels, and I know that we're going to be watching this really, really careful in this upcoming fall market. We're going to keep everybody posted on sort of what we're seeing on the street in this Glover Park, Burleigh, Georgetown, Foxhall Village areas. That sound about right?
Absolutely.
As always, if you have any questions about Georgetown area real estate, don't hesitate to reach out. We've got Ben Snyder, Gary Boylan, Jessica Rivas, Michael Brennan, Compass Georgetown. Have a great day.